Ladies and gentlemen, the reign of terror is finally over. Lyon 2, Lorient 0. An assuring second half performance from us. And I say second half because that first half, once again, dreadful. We barely created anything. There wasn't energy in the midfield. The transitions between the lines weren't good. We didn't really create any chances, like I said. Yeah, not a good first half. And it could have been even worse if it wasn't for Dominic Greif in goal, making a massive save from Bamba Dieng right on the stroke of half time. And it could have easily been 2-2 rather than 2-0, with Bamba Dieng having two gilt-edged opportunities. Obviously, the one from Greif in the first half, but in the second half, he brought one down brilliantly, but put it wide. I mean, I'm not complaining. I'd much rather us keep a 15th clean sheet of the season. It's just a shame we haven't been able to score these past few weeks. But yeah, the lineup Fonseca started with, I was happy with. Kango starting is always good at right back. Tolisso rested because he was a doubt. That's always going to be good to rest your captain. Obviously not ideal in terms of performance, but we'd rather have him in the next 3, 4, 5, 6 games rather than wasting him in a game against Lorient. And then the big talking point, he slammed Endrick in a press conference saying he wasn't good enough and we were relying on third-tier Portuguese football Afonso Moreira. So Endrick was left on the bench and he came on at half-time after that disastrous first half. And he looked really good. He looked hungry again, which is always good, especially when it's only a 6-month loan for someone that's meant to be a high-caliber player. It was good to see him back to how he was about 6 games into the loan. He went off the boil the past 2 or so months, but the whole team has, let's face it, 9 games on the bounce without a win. But yeah, the team, I liked it. The gamble of Ainsley in the middle to add some energy, to add some pace, didn't really pay off, but it meant he could be moved to right back in the second half anyway. Yaremchuk starting through the middle. Again, we've struggled to sign a good 9. Satriano wasn't good, but he's gone and done brilliant things at Getafe this second half of the season. Yaremchuk on loan, 5 mil option to buy, not obligation. Apparently, we're not going to be exercising that. I'm glad to see that. I thought he was going to be excellent after that cameo. Which game was it? I think it was the cup game against Lens. He came on, drove the ball forward for the the first goal, and then was really good throughout the game. Didn't take a pen, and we ended up losing on pen. So maybe, obviously, he's new to the club, but you want your striker taking a pen in a shootout, don't you? So lineup-wise, I think the first half should have gone well, but again, we just didn't start a game well. Low energy, really wasteful in possession. Both sides were. It wasn't a good half to watch. And unlike in Angers, where we were just rolling on the floor all the time, it wasn't stop-start. It was just give the ball back, win it back, give it back, win it back for both sides. Neither side created much. Best chance of the game came to Dieng right at the end of that first half, as I've gone over. A massive save from Greif. But yeah, other than Taylor Brice's injury for Lorient and Yaremchuk missing a couple of chances, obviously Dieng's header, there wasn't really much in the first half. And I'll be honest, I was thinking, here we go again. It's not been a good few weeks, months even for us. 9 games? It's a lot of games. Even if it is 2 per week, that's still a long time. But Fonseca did something unprecedented. He made 3 halftime subs. For a man that hasn't used subs much at all, I think we were like 16th in impact of subs and 14th in the amount of subs made in Ligue 1 this season. But yeah, he made an unprecedented 3 subs. Mangala came on in the middle. Tolisso came on for energy, experience, and obviously he's club captain. He should be playing every minute possible. And obviously, Endrick came on, as we said. Kango came off at right back, so Ainsley dropped back in. Nate came off. He didn't really get into the game, which is really annoying because those first 3 games, I thought he was excellent. He was driving the ball forward. I think he got 2 goals in his first 2 Ligue 1 games surrounding a Europa League game. And he just looked really good. He drove the ball well. He was so tidy on the ball. And it's a shame he's fallen down the pecking order these last few weeks. Because, like I said in last week's review, I think he really would have impacted the game against Angers. But yeah, so Nate came off, Kango came off, and Gezal came off at right wing. It was a weird one to start him, to be honest. I think that's the only thing that I didn't really agree with in the starting lineup. Because he's just not looked at the pace. I mean, he's 32, he's been in and around Turkey for the past few years, didn't work at Leicester. And yeah, it's great to bring someone that knows the club back. I mean, it worked brilliantly with Lacazette. Obviously, Tolisso, he's our captain right now. But it's just not worked with Gezal. And I think it's more a non-sporting recruitment for the future. I think it's more for his coaching and leadership pathways rather than someone to be an impact in games on the right wing. And as poor as Karabec has looked at times, he's young. He can be very creative, although he's a bit slow and a bit predictable. Okay, give him some space and he can whip a crossing, that's for sure. I think he had like 23 crosses in 4 games at one point and he was a sub. Mental stats for crossing. But yeah, Endrick took his place, long sleeve shirt. He looked hungry straight away, let's be honest. He looked hungry. He wanted it. He wanted to prove Fonseca wrong. And he went and did that. Basically got the assist for both goals. One was the cross perfectly onto Yaremchuk's head. The other, he's taken it past one player, taken another touch. Keeper saves the first shot, but Tolisso gets there, heads it in. We're 2-0 up in the 60th minute. Brilliant. Perfect. Exactly what we needed. But yeah, the second half for Lorient was much like the first. They didn't really have much of the ball. When they did have the ball, they gave it back to us. They weren't good with it either. They didn't really progress through the lines at all. They didn't really create any chances. The one chance they did have fell to Bamba Dieng, as I've said. Nice ball across to him, split the two centre-backs, brings it down exceptionally well, and he really should be hitting the target, putting it wide from that area. If it's on target, it's basically a goal unless it's straight at the keeper. It's that close. It's that sort of chance. We got away with one there, I will be honest. And like I said earlier, it very well could have been 2-2. But yeah, another big talking point, other than obviously Endrick getting dropped and then revitalising himself, was the first use of the referees announcing their decisions. Now, it's a big thing in the Premier League now. Every time they go to VAR, they explain what they've seen, they explain the decision, and then they explain the decision, well, they announce the decision that they've given. And it was used once today for Benoit Bastien. And it was a bit of a strange one because it was a penalty check, but Afonso Moreira was fouled. He was pushed in the back, and then Bamba Dieng has turned back into him, ready to pull the trigger on a shot, and got over him because obviously Moreira's on the floor. But there was a clear push. Moreira goes down easily, but both hands from Cáceres goes onto Moreira's back and he falls over. And it was a lengthy delay. And it was one of them with how French refereeing can be, where I was worried that it was going to be a pen for basically nothing. I mean, he was on the floor. Yeah, it would be a foul if he went to ground, but he went to ground because he was pushed, you know? So yeah, we saw the first glimpses of that. I mean, it's not exactly going to change how refereeing is. I guess it gives clarity to the players, to the managers, and obviously to fans at home who can hear it in the stadium or on the streaming platform they're watching on. But it doesn't change the poor decisions. I mean, maybe it'll help preventing the poor decisions in future, but in the moment, if the ref's giving a dodgy pen, even though he's gone to VAR, or she, if it's Stephanie Frachpa, they're still giving a dodgy pen. Announcing it to the crowd isn't going to change it. It might even make it worse because they've announced a bad decision that they've made. And obviously that might come back onto the refs. But from what I've seen, it's worked in England, it's worked in the Premier League. I don't think there have been that many that the refs have got wrong that they've had to announce. But hey, any change to the refereeing is good. I think there's too much arrogance in French refereeing. Not bias, but just poor officiating for the most part. And we need to get rid of that. We're here to watch football. The guys are there to play football. It's their jobs. It's a business at the end of the day. And these decisions can cost you millions upon millions if you come 7th rather than 6th, or 5th rather than 4th, or even 4th rather than 3rd, because 3rd is guaranteed Champions League qualification rather than playoffs. So yeah, that was new. Luckily, the penalty wasn't given. It was just a free kick to us, which is good because he didn't just give it as a corner or a drop ball or whatever. He gave the free kick for the foul on Moreira, which, again, it constitutes that progression in refereeing. But yeah, the game ticked on. Neither side really looked like scoring after the second goal. It kind of petered out. They didn't look like they were going to get a goal. We didn't look like we were going to get a third. We didn't really look like we wanted a third. In terms of the other two subs, obviously Endrick made a massive impact on his substitution. I think Mangala was good with progressing the ball. Tolisso obviously got the goal, and he's so integral to how we play. We look so much more in control of the game. Maybe not even if we don't have the ball, but just in control, winning a blatant foul, a professional foul, winning the ball back, progressing the ball, taking it past players. We just look so much more in control with Tolisso. Tessman came on in the 82nd, didn't really get on the ball much, didn't do much. But, I mean, that's what you'd expect. We're seeing out a 2-0 win. And it was nice to see Kluivert back. He's been out for 2 or 3 months when it was just an unknown injury that was potentially only going to be a week long. So it's nice to see him back, even if he didn't really do much in the game. In terms of best players, although Yaremchuk got the goal, he's nowhere near that. I mean, he's just so clunky in the box, and even when he meets a header, it's usually spooned over the bar. But yeah, obviously Endrick spearheaded us to the win. I'm going to say he assisted both goals because He did, basically. A shot parried out by the keeper into the path of Tolisso. No defender touched it. No one else touched it. It's basically an assist. It's not going to count on the stats, but I'm going to count it as his. And then, as always, Morton and Niakate, such patrons to the team. They're so important. Morton, just so calm on the ball, always looking for the right pass. Player of the season for me. Yes, he hasn't got the goals. Yes, he hasn't got the assists, but player of the season for us. Without him, I don't know where we'd be. And in the games where we haven't had him, we haven't looked great. Obviously, we have had Kalis Mera. I really want to see him play more. And that's the same with all the youth. Hamdani, Himber obviously got injured. But yeah, we need to see the youth playing more. But Morton, so important. And man of the match, it was Dominic Greif. I completely agree with that. If we went in to halftime 1-0 down, which we realistically should have, because that was an insane save from Greif, it's a completely different game. Even if Endrick comes on, he might not have the same impact because they're sitting deeper. There's more pressure to get the goal, that more than he was already under. So yeah, Greif, definite man of the match. Another massive save. And yeah, kept his clean sheet. I think that's 9 for him in Ligue 1 this season. Maybe 11. I can't remember how many Deschamps got before he came in. But yeah, great work from Greif. Good work from the team. Not the best performance, but Lorient aren't an easy side to play at all. They've shown that with Pantaloni taking them to 9th, I believe they are. I will just fact check this. Yeah, they're up to 9th even after the loss. 5 points behind Strasbourg, so that's basically all they're going to get to. But promoted side, 9th place. I think they'd have taken that at the start of the season for sure. So yeah, the horror streak is over. We are still only in 5th place even after that win because Rennes, Marseille and Lille all won. Monaco, the big losers of the week, the only of the 5 fighting for Champions League that lost. Strasbourg, I think, are too far back. Yes, they didn't play this week, but I think they're too far off it. They're 6 behind Monaco and 10 behind Lille, so that's a long way to go. 2 points off the podium. Anything can happen. 5 games to go. We've got the hardest run in, but if we win every game, like I said last week, who's going to stop us? Who's going to stop us if we win every game? That's all we can do. And if we do it, I think we'll get Champions League. I don't think the runs that the other teams have got will constitute a Champions League place if we win every game. But the main thing, back to winning ways. We've got PSG on Sunday night. They'll have had 4 days to recover after their Liverpool game, but we've got 7 days to recover. So hopefully we can get the job done against PSG. That would be a massive result to get a win at PSG. Maybe even turn the tide for Lens, and hopefully they win the cup as well, because that opens up 7th place to Europe, which might end up being us, depending on how this goes. But I'm confident we can get that 3rd or 4th. Get us back in the Champions League. Allez les gants. I'll see you next time.